G'day, legends. It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here. Before we get stuck into another great interview brought to you by Crannk.com and that metalstation.com, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and that way you can keep up to date with all the best music and interviews from all over the world. Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crannk.com and with that metalstation.com. So no matter where you are in the world, it's a great pleasure that I'm getting to have a chat with Bret MacIntosh, bassist vocalist of Æpoch out of Ontario, Canada. Cheers, mate, for joining me.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure, man. Give me a chance to find out some more of you guys. I've heard a little bit of you through the Heroes EP. Give me a chance to dive back into your other stuff. But for the uninitiated, man, can you tell us a little bit about who Æpoch are?
Yeah, sure. So we formed back in 2012, and just about a month ago, we celebrated our 10 years. We're kind of along the lines of progressive kind of technical death metal. I don't know. We don't push the BPMs as far as some tech death bands, but that's kind of where we end up getting lumped. And we have 3 EPs and 1 full length album. And as you mentioned, the most recent EP came out last September. So,
yeah, that was the Heroes EP, man. Tell me a little bit first before we dive into that one. What was it like making that first demo one way back when, dude? I think you released around 2013 there. What was it like doing that one?
That was kind of felt like a grueling progress for us because back in our local scene at that time, we were kind of trying to separate ourselves from the garagey bands, right? And so we didn't really know very many people who did very good recording. So it took a while to actually do just the 3 songs. I honestly took like probably 8 months going back and forth between our buddy's house and scheduling and stuff. So it was a learning process.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's always a grueling learning process. And I do like to ask about the first one with bands as well. So other people can see, man, it's not fucking easy sometimes when you get into that studio there to lay down the first one, but the whole idea is just to get in there, get your head around the whole process of it all and just start the ball rolling. Still there?
Absolutely. And like for me, like especially the first, yep, I'm still here. I can hear you. Cool. The video's lagging a bit, but I can hear you.
Yeah, keep going, mate.
There we go. For me, the first time we went in there, like you think you're sorry about that.
Nah, mate, that's all good. Keep going.
You think you're prepared, and then just the pressure's on of being in the studio, and everything just feels harder. So
yeah,
I don't really think. I mean, we write harder material for every album, so I don't know. It's gotten much easier.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see night and day, like kind of where you are now and way back then. So it must be sometimes good to look back and going forward with that Heroes EP, man. That's an absolute bloody ripper. What was it like making that one and dropping that last year, considering the climate leading up to that as well?
Oh, thank you. First of all, we are definitely proud of it. And well, we also released another EP like the year before during the pandemic too, right? So
yeah,
I think we were just trying to stay relevant because we couldn't play any shows and couldn't really make any money, and we didn't at that point we didn't know if we were ever going to get to play shows again. So we were in some ways just really motivated to just record as much music as quick as we could. So that's kind of how that came together. Originally, the second song was supposed to be on our next upcoming full length, and then I just kind of all of a sudden came up with the concept, which is like what the lyrics. It's like this four song little mini story, and then we just kind of rolled with that.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that concept, Bret. The mini story behind it as well.
Okay, sure. So it's kind of about like an unknown protagonist, and he kind of wakes up in like a post-apocalyptic kind of world, and he doesn't know who he is or where he's from, and he's just kind of roaming around, and then he ends up starting to hallucinate because he's dehydrated and has no nutrition, And then in his hallucinations, actually the posters behind me, in his hallucinations, he starts to hallucinate and come across this thing, which is it's like an evil entity, which I described in the song "The Flesh Totem." And what
There
did
we
my
go.
camera just give it?
Nice
Oh,
little
okay,
image there
yeah,
for everyone to have a look at as well of what you were pointing out on the flag.
yeah. So that's the character, like kind of being enthralled by this being, and then the being kind of possesses him to sacrifice himself to the being, and that's how the being sustains its life from possessing whoever comes across it to sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, yeah, that
It's
was
pretty dark, and it's not really what we've done before, but I don't know. It's just a little idea I had.
well, it was some dark times, and it was a really, really cool EP as well. I actually dug the hell out of it, man. I woke up this morning cranking the fuck out of it, bro. Tell me a little bit about the guest vocalist you
Thank you.
had in Amnesia about Jerry Martin. I'm keen to know a little bit about that artist as well and the guest you had on that one.
Yeah, for sure. So he's from a band called Illustrium. They're on Unique Leader Records, and I've been a fan of them probably since about 2012 as well.
Yep.
And they, I mean, we've chatted online. We've always wanted to kind of play together, and I just thought, hey, when we were writing that song in the chorus, I just heard a really belty vocal, and I was like, well, I could probably do that, but it'd be cool to have him do it. So I just asked him to guest feature it. I'm pretty sure he did it for free, and I just gave him some money for the studio time.
Yeah,
He didn't
nice.
want any payment for it at all. They're really nice guys, but we've kind of been like online friends for a while, so I was really happy to have him participate on it.
Yeah, who done the cover art for that one?
That is Mark Erskine. He's done art for Inanimate Existence, and um, I'm having troubles thinking of who else right now,
Yep.
but he's a good up and coming artist.
Unreal artist. And you can go get those flags as well for anyone checking that out. Can you? Where's the best place to get some merch from you guys? Quick mention for that.
Yeah, we have the flags should be. I think yeah, the flags are available on our Bandcamp,
Bandcamp,
and
yeah.
shirts are very limited right now on our Bandcamp because we just sold out of most of our shirts for the last few shows.
That's really good.
So
That's the good thing about getting along to shows now. I know, like it's hard trying to get those physicals and people to kind of remind them to go grab physicals. But when you do these shows and playing the live shows, that's kind of where you get shine, getting rid of the merch. Because I know myself, I'm
oh yeah,
always throw so much bank at the merch stands whenever I go. I don't drink as much anymore. So when I go to shows, I'm spending loads on merch, shirts, CDs, things
me
like that
too.
as well. And it's good to see that still rolling along. How's the live music scene going over in Canada coming forward, man?
It's come out pretty good. So my band was one of the first bands out of the bands that I'm personally friends with, at least. Now, I don't want to say like at all, but
Yeah.
one of the first bands that I'm friends with, and I'm friends with a fair amount of bands that started playing live. We played our first live show back at it last October before, and it was locked down back and forth. So it was open for about 2 months last October. Then they locked it down again. And then as soon as they opened it back up, we played one more show. And then they locked it down again for maybe 6 months. And then we started playing shows again.
What was
And it's
that
been open
first?
ever since.
What was that first show like, man? I know when I went to my first metal show after the whole lockdown, because we're all in this together around the world, people. You know what I mean? We all kind of went through
Mm-hmm.
similar things. It's the one time in the world where we're all kind of going through similar things as well. I know when I went to shows, it was everybody was looking around at each other anxiously. It's like, what the fuck do we do at these shows anymore? Can we headbang? Can we move? Like, was it like that as well when you?
Yeah, it felt kind of weird. And I actually, to be honest, there was moshing at the first show, but everyone was like, this feels so taboo. Like, this feels really naughty. Like, but yeah, everyone was wearing masks unless you were drinking. But then everyone started to very quickly realize, oh, I can just buy one beer and hold it all night and not have to wear my mask. So it was kind of a weird, like, odd feeling adjustment. But for me, I was so happy to get back into it.
Yeah,
And yeah, it felt pretty naughty, to be honest.
it did. It
Kind
was
of
the
weird.
exact same here. We had a little bit of a mosh, and I think the police come at some stage, not to hassle, just walk through, and everyone's kind of stood there, put their masks on, and acted all like, you know. But it was fun to
Yeah.
get back into it. And it's really good to see the live music scene happening again. Have you got any live shows going at the moment, upcoming, or anything you want to plug as well, dude?
For Æpoch, no. So actually, one thing that's exciting is the last two shows we played are our last ones for the year, and we're starting this coming weekend. We're getting together, and every weekend from now on, we're starting to do pre-pros for the next album. We have a ton of new material. Like we were just going over all the tabs and the rough ideas and stuff. Like probably like at least 14 song skeletons right now, and probably more to come. Like just with after we start really diving in. So we're excited to do pre-production all winter and try to narrow it down for the track listing. And yeah, we'll
That's
probably
really
have 2 albums worth of material. Like we can probably like refine the rest of those songs into another album after that is the goal.
yeah, that's really exciting time for
So
you
we're going to be
guys as
keeping busy.
well. Yeah, exactly. Can you tell me a little bit about how does that songwriting process going for this one? Tell us a little bit about your process for this one.
Okay. Well, so there's actually a couple songs on this album that are older ones. Like there's one song that was written years ago by myself and our original guitar player, Chris. So it's before our first full length. We wrote it together, and we just weren't. We had too many songs back then to pick for the album too. So this song's just been sitting on deck for years. He asked us to like still make sure it sees the light of day because we're really proud of this song. And so there's all sorts of different types of songwriting. Like there's old collaborative efforts. Our new guitar player Ben, who I don't know if you like how closely you follow, but so we announced his joining the band back at the end of the summer.
Okay.
And Ben and I used to be in a band in high school together. So there's actually a couple older Æpoch songs that Ben and I wrote that we carried over because he went to college and stuff. So it's all like a big circle. It's really wild within our band. And so there's this chemistry with Ben, and him and our new guitarist are gelling. So Ben is bringing his own songs to the table. I have my own songs. Our other guitar player, Nick, has his own songs. There's a couple other old songs, and then there's songs that we've all written together. So we're ending up with a lot of songs. We're pretty happy with all of them. We're just trying to refine them and make sure that they're all the best they can be.
That's really exciting to hear that you're working on the next album. So next year we can be looking for that one sometime?
Hopefully. It depends. Like if we end up talking exciting things late, like I'll be real, like we're probably not gonna end up on like Metal Blade or anything like that, but maybe we're shoot for something like Willow Tip, Unique Leader, like that seems realistic to me. And then we don't have to quit our jobs to go on tour, and like we're not really big enough to make enough money to come back and still have a house and stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
we got to keep a happy medium, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Unless you're in that top 1%, we've all bloody got day jobs. We're all a slave to the grind, and we're doing this for the love of it, you know. And that's why I always bring it up about support with bands. And if you're watching this and you're a big fan of Æpoch, go buy the merch, support it, because you know every dollar is going to go back in to making the next album. Bands like yourself don't go get rich off of this. The money you do sell from merch goes back into making more fucking music anyway.
More music and more merch, absolutely.
More music and more merch.
Goes.
That's exactly the way it goes. I want to talk about that Waterloo metal cover compilation you were involved in as well. That must have been fun having all the artists from that area kind of get together and do that compilation, and you've done the death track as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So all of those guys we're all good friends, right? Yeah. So it was awesome, and we were really happy to be part of that.
Invicta, one of the guys from Invicta, like with you guys at some stage as well?
Yep. Before Invicta formed, the vocalist of Invicta, Kyle, was in our band. He performed on our full-length album and toured with us and stuff. And he was writing so many of his own songs that weren't like exactly our style, and we could tell that that's just where his passion was lying. We just figured it'd be better and he wouldn't be spread so thin. So we kind of mutually parted ways. But yeah, he used to be a part of our band. It's funny. The lead guitarist of Raider toured with us. It's our live guitarist. The guitarist of Cathartic Demise. He was also in our band on that same full length album. But we're all still friends. These guys they went off to do their own bands.
It must be a very close, tight-knit scene. And I know over here in South Australia and Adelaide, there's a lot of members in other bands, and they're kind of all very close in the metal scene. How is that metal scene over there? How would you describe it? And a couple of bands you want to shout out to from your local area as well.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's in Kitchener, Cambridge, Kitchener area. It's very tight-knit. So yeah, we're good friends with the bands Invicta, Raider, Cathartic Demise, Scorn, Unbowed, all of the bands except for Unbowed that I just mentioned. We all jam in the same building, so like it's a very tight knit scene. Good friends with A Tyrant's Lament and Sentiment Dissolve. These two bands are up and coming. Their albums are probably going to come out next year, and they're probably the best two bands I've heard like out of Ontario in the last few years. So they're really deadly and really good to look out for. A Tyrant's Lament and Sentiment Dissolve.
There you go, people. Yeah, the Canadian metal scene is absolutely bloody unreal. I've been working with Curtis now for a couple of years, and also with Asher from Asher Media, and they're always sending me the stuff from over in Canada, and it's absolutely bloody unreal. Like to check out the scene and everything that's going out there. I just had a chat with I think it was Deformatory the other week, and then Lycanthro, and there's just so many different genres. It must be fun playing and thriving in that scene as well.
There is a lot of good like metal bands, but just like Australia, it's such a huge country, right? So even to play with bands like in other good cities, it's still like quite a distance. Like for us to play with Deformatory, which we've done, but they're in Ottawa, it's like 5 or 6 hours away from us.
Yeah.
So like we got to make a weekend out of it usually, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be sweet to play with Deformatory again. They're awesome.
Yeah, cool band. Couple of tracks, man. Pick like 3 tracks. If you haven't heard Æpoch, these 3 tracks you got to go out and bloody crank up first.
From our whole discography, I can't anything, just man. Give it from the new EP because I gotta say I still think our fan favorite is. I think the fan favorite is Delirium of Negation.
Yep.
We play that song at almost every show.
Kill it.
So I'd recommend Delirium of Negation. I'd recommend Shrapnel Baptized from the last EP, The Scryer. And then I'd recommend probably the track Amnesia with Jerry's vocals. That seems to have a lot of people on it. I'd like to say the title track, but that one's pretty tech for someone who's just checking us.
Yeah, that's it. No, really, really good tracks there. Bret, do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, anything I may have forgotten that you'd like to add in there, my friend, before we sign out?
I mean, I mentioned our album. I mean, okay, I want to mention that we are planning a tour for next year, late spring. I'm not really at liberty to discuss it in depth. But
what we'll do, Bret, we'll catch up again,
we're not
man.
Going into full hibernation.
Yeah, hit me up. We'll catch up again before, man. We'll do something on the radio and give everyone a shout out to what's happening when you're ready to announce everything as well.
Yeah, because I believe that the band we're going to be touring with is a band that you're rather familiar with as well. So it'd be sweet to talk about that.
That would be awesome. Look forward to it, my friend. Thank you so much for making some time to have a chat with me before we do go, man. It is that time of year again. Favorite Halloween movie you like to bust out around this time, my friend?
I don't know. Beetlejuice is a good one.
It is,
classic.
Isn't it?
It's not super scary, but I like Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is a cracker, man. Can't go wrong with that. Yeah. Cheers, mate. You have a good one.
Cheers. You as well. Thanks for having me.
Done, man. Thank you.
Mate, hey. Fucking my man. Fucking Jobber. That fucking metal guy,